Hello everyone, and welcome back to Providence PCs. Today, we're gonna see if this 20-year-old GPU can still play modern games. Uh, this GPU is the GeForce 8800 GTX, which was released on November 8th, 2006. So, technically, at the time of release, it is just under 20 years old, but we're calling it 20 years old. So, some specs. This was released on the Tesla architecture. It was a 90 nanometer processing thingy. It has 681 million transistors. It released for $599. The GPU clock is 576 megahertz. The shader clock is 1350 megahertz. It had 768 megabytes of GDDR3 RAM. Which you can kind of see in there. Beautiful core, by the way. It has a 384-bit memory bus, 128 shading units. It has 32 TMUs and 24 ROPs. It has a TDP of 155 watts supplied by two 6-pin power connectors here. It was the very first GPU ever to support DirectX 10, and it has OpenGL 3.3. So, let's see if this can game. I got this GPU from that Dell Precision T3500, and this is the system that's going in. This is my Dell Optiplex, 16 gigs of RAM, i5 9500, RM850. It is running off of a little hard drive in the back, just to run Windows 10, but this isn't a bottleneck. No bottlenecks here. Bottleneck here. Alright guys, we're starting with the first game here, which is Shell Shockers. That is in a little online shooting game here. I'd like to let you know, just before we're starting this, the footage is going to look a little cloudy. That isn't an accurate reflection. I just didn't want to put a lot of load on the GPU, because that's screen recording the whole thing. So I want to get as accurate as representation of the performance as possible. So I did do a small overclock to compensate for that. Nothing much, but here you can see it's running at like flat 75 FPS locked. It's good. Then here's BeamNG Drive 0.11. This is quite an old version of Beam, honestly. It's running at like between 35 and like 40, between there. This is on the lowest of low settings. Once again, it looks a little cloudy. I don't know, this may be a little off topic, but it seems the controls are like really off compared to like modern BeamNG Drive. Interesting. Yeah, there's no audio. Sorry about that. We'll fix it next time. Alright, here's Bloons TD Battles 2. This is a pretty modern game by any standards. You can find this on Steam and download it, which is what I did. So I'm shocked it ran this good. You can see we're only using about 35% GPU, so it's not really breaking too much of a sweat. So I mean, another game running great, 20-year-old hardware. Then here's another modern one. This is the long drive. This is the beta version. And then when you're driving like this, you get about 43. However, 2 buildings loaded in here. I thought it was important to show that. When it loads in, it kind of goes down, the frame rate. But once everything's just there and accounted for, the frame rate's pretty stable. And then here's exploding something. Wait for it. There we are. Okay, so that was a small little dip. Nothing much. Here's the graphics. The draw distance was at max. Mirrors are at low. And everything else is pretty much off. And here's old Minecraft. The new Minecraft would not run, so we had to go back to an older version. You probably could go to a newer version, but this is... I just clicked on one that seemed old enough and it ran, so like, alright, we'll go with that. This is using much more GPU, about like 88 to 94%, so almost maxing it out, like very, very close. But yeah, I mean, you still had a smidge bit of headroom. I mean, you could turn down the settings as well if needed, as you'll see some settings in a second, and that they're really impressive. I mean, the game looks really good overall. It's getting about 75 FPS locked. Maybe some dips here and there, but there you go. Fancy graphics, 28 chunks of render distance, fancy clouds. I mean, this nice settings. Bet you didn't see this one coming. Placid Plastic Duck Simulator. This is another one that's on Steam, and it just runs. This one is also on the lowest of low settings, but we're getting about 40 FPS, so not bad. Depending on the time of day and shadows and how many little ducks are floating in the pool, you know, the FPS can go up and down just based on those factors. But the game doesn't look the best. I mean, let's be real here. None of these games look the best, but still impressive. BeamNG did not run. Minecraft, like new Minecraft, didn't run. Lethal Company really unfortunately did not run. And Canadian Walking Simulator did not run either. And can it run Windows 11? Yes, it can. Here we are. This is the 8800 GTX. 20-year-old GPU running modern operating system, Windows 11. In case you're wondering, for drivers and stuff, I downloaded Nvidia's 341.74 drivers. Then I ran them in compatibility mode with Windows 7 and it worked first try. So there's some info if you need to get this working on Windows 11. And this is the same game, just running on Windows 11. This is my personal computer, so there's a lot more stuff installed, so I'm running about 6% less FPS. And yes, I edited the entire video that you've seen up to this point on the 8800 GTX. Just real quick, I wanted to thank retired Megatron here for his comment on my last video. Hopefully the audio is a little bit better. I feel like my audio tone could be changed a little bit. It sounds a little microwavy, but we'll keep working on it. But yeah, thank you so much for the help and tip there. And also thanks Donald Singh for the congratulations. I appreciate it, dude. In the end, this GPU's greatest innovation was also its greatest downfall. DirectX 10 was an amazing new technology when it came out. However, since most games don't support it anymore, it just can't run a lot of modern games. So, if your game supports DirectX 10, more than likely you can run it on here. But if it doesn't, then you're out of luck. So I'd say you could probably play any DirectX 10 game on here with varying quality. But that really shows how competent this 8800 GTX is, that 20 years later, it can still run modern games. Now, admittedly, they weren't super heavy or anything. Like Bloons TD isn't exactly an insanely graphical intensive game, but it's still really impressive, right? I mean, the drivers still work. So thank you again so much for watching today's video. I hope you'll join me and my 8 other subscribers in the next Province PCs video. I'll probably end up upgrading that Dell Precision T3500 at some point. Funds are very limited right now, so it's definitely a future thing. But yeah, have a great day. See you in the next one.